Hey guys, I'm Neadom Tucker, and if you're like any business owner out there, you have a number of passwords to keep up with every day. So what are the safe practices when dealing with passwords and security in your business? I mean, sometimes you have to give your password to some Staples account, to your office manager, or things like that. So what are we going to do to make sure that these things are safe and secure, to make sure that would-be hackers don't necessarily get access to information? Stay tuned and we'll see you then. Hey guys, I'm Neadom Tucker, owner of Kotori Technologies, and today we're going to talk about password safe practices. Now, let's think about this. If you're a business owner and you're hiring new employees, or if you're a business owner and you're needing to set up logins for users, or even if you're not the business owner and the office manager and you're having to do these same jobs, how do you distribute these passwords in a safe manner to the people that need them? Especially if you're having to do it remotely for somebody not in your office. Also, how do we make sure that the passwords we're using are secure in the first place? So we're going to talk about those today. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is making sure that when we're communicating passwords to individuals, that is done in a safe manner. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to separate the communication of the username and the password. We also would love to implement two-factor authentication. We've got some other videos on that in the past you can take a look at, but we want to kind of make this mechanism of the login and the password coming in two different methods of communications. We don't even want those to go both via email. So if you're going to communicate to a new user, let's say John Doe you just hired, you want to send them an email to maybe their personal email address and say, hey, John, here's your username, John at johndoe.com or John at acme.com, whatever. And then maybe you want to send them a text message that says, here's your password. And so ideally, we're basically breaking the chain of communication to two different platforms. And so a would-be hacker would have to have access to both of those, not saying that's not impossible, but again, a little bit more difficult. The other method would be to send an email with the username and then call the user and on the phone with the password and have them type it in. You want to make sure when you do this though that you're requiring the user to change their password at logon. Even though we're the business owners or the office manager, we don't want the responsibility of knowing everyone's password, because that breaks a form of what I would consider liability or accountability, that if I know their user's password, then I have to be able to log in as a user. So in the event of an accountability, the user always has the ability to say, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. And then what's your comeback to that? You actually have the password to that as well. So you cannot prove without a reasonable doubt that it was that person on the other end. So making sure that we communicate that two different ways. The ultimate best practice for passwords though is to make sure that you're implementing two-factor authentication. Office 365, G Suite, any of these large cloud applications that you guys use support two-factor authentication. Implement it, implement it, implement it. I cannot say it enough. It will help protect you and your information. The second thing we want to talk about is overall passwords themselves, how to make complex passwords. And so I've said this in the past, use a password manager. I mean, there's too many passwords for us to remember, and best practice is to have a password different for every site that we have. Who can keep up with 237 passwords that are all different? I mean, I can't. I mean, I don't even have a photographic memory. And I think if you had a photographic memory, I don't think you could do it anyways. But that's a lot of passwords to kind of keep up with. And so use a password manager like 1Pass or LastPass or Dashlane or RoboForm or whatever you want to use. Use a password manager to manage it. Have one complex password to get into that system. All those systems are fairly secure. And I say fairly because nothing's 100% secure. Again, use two-factor authentication to manage access to those applications as well. And then use that. But also, let's talk about password complexity. So ideally nowadays, you want to use something in the 8-character range, uppercase, lowercase, numbers and letters, and then use, they want to be in some random order. You don't want to use like dog, catcher, or you use like, Jeremy's great or whatever. You can make sentences up. So let's say, for example, I'm a big Jimmy Buffett fan. If you're a fellow parrot head, reach out to us and let us know. But I'm a Jimmy Buffett fan. So let's say, for example, my favorite song was Margaritaville, right? And some of the lines in the song are living away again in Margaritaville. So why don't I make that my password? You can make a sentence your password with the spaces, the uppercase, lowercase. Maybe use some numbers in that, right? A space would be considered a special character, right? So use these song phrases in your password complexity to make that. You can have some sites support 24 characters in their password. Use that and just let it make sense to you. If you can't keep track of that, again, a password manager is really great for that. Well, guys, that really sums up another week of When You Need 'Em, Ask Neadom. We talked about today the two things of passwords, of communicating passwords to your users, and then password complexity. If you guys have any questions, reach out to us online at www.kotoritechnologies.com. And if not, we'll see you next time. Take care.